Hey, are you ready for a deep dive into some California news? It's pretty fascinating this week.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we've got a lot going on from politics
Okay.
to healthcare to education and even a little bit of holiday cheer.
Wow.
We're going to be taking a look at the top 5 stories this week from the Observer Group newspapers of Southern California,
Okay.
dated December 11th, 2024. So buckle up, it's going to be a wild ride.
Sounds like it. Just from those headlines, I can tell we've got a lot to unpack.
Yeah. Okay. Let's start off with a big win for representation in California's legislature.
Okay.
The California Legislative Black Caucus, the CLBC,
Mm-hmm.
has reached a historic milestone.
Oh, wow.
For the first time ever, a majority of its members are women.
Really?
9 out of 12.
Wow.
That's pretty exciting.
That is really exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is a huge shift for a group that's been around for almost 60 years,
Mm-hmm.
advocating for the concerns of African Americans and other communities of color since 1967.
Since 1967. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
It's a long time, and it's especially significant considering the CLBC's historical focus on issues like economic equity,
Right.
criminal justice reform,
Ah,
educational opportunities.
yeah. Big issues.
Yeah, and they've got a new dynamic chair leading the charge,
Oh, who's that?
Senator Akilah Weber.
Okay.
And she's already tackling a critical issue with her first bill,
What's that?
aiming to address maternity ward closures,
Okay.
which are disproportionately impacting underserved communities.
Yeah, that's a big issue for sure.
Yeah, and this is a move that could have significant implications,
Mhm.
especially considering the broader trend that we're seeing across the state legislature.
Oh, yeah.
California now has a record 58 women lawmakers.
Wow.
That's almost half of the total assembly.
Wow. So what kind of impact do you think that could have on policies that affect, people's lives in California?
I mean, it's really exciting to think about.
Yeah.
And it's not just about the numbers, it's about the energy and the drive these new members bring. So you've got Senator Richardson, she calls herself Landslide Laura,
Okay.
and she paid tribute to Congresswoman Maxine Waters during her portrait session,
Okay.
acknowledging the legacy of strong women in California politics.
Yeah. Well, what stood out to you about these newly elected officials?
I would say just their focus on community organizing and collaboration.
Okay.
Like Richardson's call to action, in times like these, we don't need to agonize, we need to organize.
Yeah.
That really resonated with me.
Yeah, me too.
It speaks to a shift toward collective action, finding solutions through community engagement.
Yeah, it makes you wonder if this change in representation
Mm-hmm.
could lead to a shift in legislative priorities.
Yeah.
Maybe even a move toward more collaborative,
Uh-huh.
community-driven solutions.
It's really something to watch.
Definitely. And speaking of shifts and potential changes, let's move on to a topic that's definitely got people talking.
Okay.
The assassination of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson.
Oh, yeah. This is a shocking story.
Yeah.
That brings up some disturbing questions about the state of healthcare in America.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's chilling, to be honest. The image of a high-profile CEO being gunned down
Right.
in broad daylight in Midtown Manhattan
Wow.
is unsettling.
Yeah, it's scary.
And then the fact that the shell casings were inscribed with words like depose and delay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it suggests a motive that's possibly tied to healthcare policies.
It's a disturbing detail.
Yeah,
That adds another layer to this tragedy.
totally. And it brings us to another controversial issue that's been making headlines.
Okay, what's that?
Anthem Blue Cross, Blue Shield's new anesthesia reimbursement policy.
Right. This policy is causing a lot of anxiety among medical professionals.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it aims to limit reimbursements for anesthesia based on predetermined time limits.
Which sounds pretty risky.
Yeah, it does.
What do you think?
I mean, the American Society of Anesthesiologists, the ASA, is extremely concerned about this policy,
Okay.
calling it dangerous and potentially detrimental to patient safety. They argue that complex surgeries often require more time and careful monitoring,
Right.
and forcing anesthesiologists to adhere to strict time limits could lead to compromised care.
Wow.
Imagine a situation where a doctor is pressured to rush a critical procedure
Yeah.
just to stay within the reimbursement guidelines.
Yeah, that's scary.
It is.
It raises some serious ethical questions about prioritizing profits
Mm-hmm.
over patient well-being.
Yeah, it does for sure.
And it's not just theoretical. This policy has already been stopped in Connecticut
Wow.
and faced strong criticism from Governor Hochul in New York.
So there's been significant backlash.
Yeah.
Wow, and what's even more unsettling is that Thompson's widow mentioned he had received threats
Oh, wow.
related to lack of coverage
Really?
before his death.
So it makes you wonder if this assassination could be linked to anger over healthcare policies,
Yeah.
possibly even stemming from situations where people felt denied coverage
Right.
or mistreated by the system.
Yeah, it brings up a much larger question. What does this incident reveal about the state of healthcare in America today? Where do we go from here?
Yeah, it's definitely a question that deserves serious consideration, and I think it highlights the urgent need for open and honest dialogue about the challenges and anxieties surrounding healthcare in this country.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, it's a complex issue
Yeah,
with no easy answers.
right.
But acknowledging the problem and having these conversations is a crucial first step.
Right.
Maybe this tragedy can serve as a wake-up call,
Yeah.
a push to find more humane and equitable solutions
Right.
within our healthcare system.
Absolutely. Now let's shift gears to a topic that feels a bit more hopeful.
Okay.
California's commitment to voting rights.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a refreshing change of pace after that heavy news.
Yeah.
California has a long history of championing voter access and election security, and Secretary of State Shirley Ann Weber is a true leader in this area. Yeah, her personal story is incredibly powerful.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she talks about her parents being denied the right to vote in the Jim Crow South
Wow.
and how they weren't able to exercise this fundamental right until they moved to California.
Wow.
It's a reminder that voting rights are not something to be taken for granted,
Right.
and that we have to constantly work to protect and expand them.
Definitely. And California is doing a lot to ensure safe, free, and fair elections.
Yeah.
Think about the Where's My Ballot tool,
Right.
which lets you track your ballot every step of the way, or the robust cybersecurity measures they've implemented to protect our voting systems from interference.
Right. It's really impressive.
It is.
It makes you feel confident in the integrity of our elections here in California.
It does.
I've always appreciated how easy and accessible voting is here.
Yeah.
Especially compared to some other states where voters face long lines,
Right.
strict ID requirements, or limited polling locations.
Yeah. Have you ever encountered any obstacles or concerns while voting
Yeah.
in other parts of the country?
I've definitely heard stories.
Yeah.
And it's something to think about, especially as we see voting rights being challenged in other parts of the country.
Right.
So California's commitment to making voting accessible and secure is a model worth emulating.
Definitely.
Mm.
Okay, moving on. Let's tackle another big topic that's making waves.
Okay.
Education reform.
Okay.
And this one comes with a bombshell announcement from President-elect Trump.
Uh-huh.
He's planning to abolish the Department of Education.
Wow, okay. This is a controversial move.
It is.
That's been brewing for years. And it's sure to ignite passionate debate on both sides of the aisle.
I think so.
So Trump's argument centers around the idea that the Department of Education represents federal overreach,
Okay.
that it's become too bureaucratic and inefficient,
Right.
and that control over education should be returned to states and local communities.
Okay.
He's also tapping into a growing sentiment among some conservatives that public education has become too focused on woke ideology,
Right.
pushing agendas that they believe are inappropriate or
Yeah.
divisive.
Mm-hmm.
During a rally in Wisconsin,
Right.
Trump declared,
Right.
"We will ultimately abolish the federal Department of Education."
Wow.
He's framing this as a way to empower parents and local communities to have more control over what their children are learning.
Makes sense.
But here's the thing, regardless of your political stance,
Yeah.
we can't ignore the fact that American education is facing some serious challenges right now.
That's true.
Like, those statistics about declining reading and math scores among 9-year-olds
Right.
are pretty alarming.
They are. You're right. The latest data shows a 5-point drop in reading scores,
Wow.
the largest decline since 1990.
Wow.
And math scores for this age group are actually going down for the
Wow.
first time ever.
Oh, wow.
So it paints a concerning picture. And it begs the question, is abolishing the Department of Education the right solution to these problems?
It's a complex issue with far-reaching implications.
Right.
I think it's important for us to understand exactly what the Department of Education does.
Yeah.
Before we jump to conclusions,
Okay.
it's not as simple as some people might think.
Right.
The Department of Education isn't dictating curriculum or telling teachers what to teach in the classroom.
Right.
Its primary functions are funding civil rights enforcement
Mm-hmm.
and oversight of higher education.
Okay.
They manage crucial programs like Title I,
Okay.
which provides billions of dollars to support low-income school districts,
Right.
as well as special education funding. They also enforce laws like Title IX,
Okay.
which protects students from discrimination based on sex.
Yeah, so dismantling the department
Right.
could have a massive ripple effect,
Yeah.
potentially impacting everything from student loans to school lunches
Wow.
to the very structure of our education system.
That's a lot to consider. And Anthony Tildman.
The award-winning photojournalist
Okay.
issued a powerful call to action in one of the articles we're looking at today.
Oh, what did he say?
He urges parents and community leaders to get involved,
Okay.
to become advocates for better education in their local communities.
Okay.
It's a reminder that regardless of what happens at the federal level, we all have a role to play in shaping the future of education.
Right.
His words resonate deeply,
Yeah.
especially in light of these proposed changes.
Yeah.
What can you do to make a difference in your own community? What issues are you most passionate about when it comes to education?
Yeah, it's a question worth pondering as we navigate these uncertain times.
Absolutely. Now, for a bit of a lighter note,
Okay.
let's talk about something that brings joy and a sense of community.
All right.
The third annual Winterfest at Hollywood Park.
Oh, that sounds nice.
Yeah, it sounds absolutely delightful.
Yeah.
They had everything from a black Santa to pet adoptions
Wow.
from the Lovejoy Foundation.
To live music performances, including the Inglewood High School Marching Band.
Oh, wow. And speaking of the Inglewood High School Marching Band,
Yeah.
they had some exciting news. They're going on a trip to Washington, D.C. to perform.
That's amazing.
It is.
It's a fantastic opportunity for these young musicians.
It is.
And it sounds like the Hollywood Park Foundation is really stepping up to support them.
That's great.
Yeah. They even debuted a new outdoor dining spot called The Meeting Spot
Okay.
and featured the popular Farm Habit Farmers Market.
Oh, nice.
It's heartwarming to see a community coming together
Yeah.
to celebrate the holidays and support its youth.
Definitely would you have enjoyed this event? What stood out to you the most?
Honestly, the whole atmosphere sounds so welcoming and festive.
Yeah.
It's wonderful to see events like this that bring people together, especially after the challenging news we've been discussing.
Yeah. What about you? Did anything in particular catch your eye?
I love the emphasis on community involvement and local talent, especially the support for the Inglewood High School Marching Band.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds us that even amidst the chaos and uncertainty of the world,
Right.
there's still so much beauty and hope to be found in our own backyards.
Well said. You know, as we've been discussing these seemingly disparate topics, I've noticed a recurring theme,
Oh, what's that?
the interconnectedness of everything.
Oh, I like where you're going with this.
Yeah, think about it. We started with the historic representation of women in the CLBC,
Right.
a group dedicated to advocating for marginalized communities.
Mm-hmm.
Then we talked about healthcare disparities
Right.
and the shocking assassination of a CEO, possibly linked to frustration with the system.
Yeah, and then we explored education reform and the debate over federal control versus local autonomy.
Exactly. They all point to larger questions about power equity and who gets to make decisions that affect our lives.
You're right, these issues might seem separate on the surface,
Yeah.
but they all point to these larger questions about power equity and who has a voice.
Precisely who has a voice, who has access to resources and opportunities,
Mm-hmm.
and who benefits from the systems we have in place.
It's like peeling back the layers of an onion,
Yeah.
revealing the complexities and interconnectedness of the systems that shape our society.
Exactly. And it underscores the importance of critical thinking, questioning assumptions,
Right.
and considering multiple perspectives.
Yeah.
We can't simply accept things at face value. We have to dig deeper, understand the nuances,
Right.
and engage in thoughtful dialogue.
That's what we aim to do here on the Deep Dive, to explore these complexities and encourage you to think critically about the issues that matter most.
And as we've seen today, California is often at the forefront of these national conversations,
Yeah.
grappling with challenges and pushing for progress in ways that resonate across the country.
So what stood out to you the most from today's Deep Dive? What sparked your curiosity or left you with lingering questions? Take some time to reflect on these topics and consider how they connect to your own life and experiences.
It's been an insightful journey,
Yeah.
exploring the highs and lows, the triumphs and tragedies that are shaping California's present and future.
Yeah, it really has been a roller coaster of a deep dive this week.
Definitely a lot to think about.
Uh-huh.
But, you know, amid all the serious discussions about healthcare,
Uh-huh.
education, and even a shocking assassination,
Huh.
there was a glimmer of hope in that Winterfest story.
Oh, yeah.
It reminds us that even in the face of complex challenges, the power of community and that simple joy of coming together
Yeah.
can shine through.
It's a good point. Sometimes we get so caught up in the headlines and the big picture issues that we forget about the importance of local connections
Right.
and those feel-good moments.
Yeah, it's like a reminder that even small acts of kindness or community engagement
Hmm.
can make a difference.
Absolutely. And it brings us back to that idea of agency.
Yeah.
What can you do as an individual
Right.
to make a positive impact?
Right. Whether it's supporting local events,
Mm-hmm.
advocating for policy changes,
Right.
or simply engaging in thoughtful conversations with friends and family,
Yeah.
there are countless ways to contribute.
I love that you bring it back to action because it's so easy to feel overwhelmed or powerless when faced with these complex issues.
Right.
But as we've seen today, change starts at the local level,
Yeah.
with individuals making conscious choices and raising their voices.
Exactly. Whether it's getting involved in your local school board, volunteering at a community organization,
Mm-hmm.
or simply staying informed and engaged with the issues that matter most to you,
Right.
every action counts. California is a state of innovation and progress, and it's often at the forefront of national movements.
Yeah.
What happens here can have a ripple effect across the country.
So true. Think about the strides California has made in areas like environmental policy,
Ah.
LGBTQ plus rights,
Mm-hmm.
and criminal justice reform.
Right.
It's a reminder that even amidst the challenges, there's always hope for progress and that we all have a role to play in shaping the future.
Well said. And as we wrap up this deep dive, I hope you're left with a sense of empowerment,
Yeah.
knowing that you have the power to make a difference in your own community and beyond.
Mm.
Stay curious, stay engaged,
Yeah.
and keep asking those tough questions.
Absolutely. And until next time, keep diving